In 2025, we asked why employers were scared of Gen Z. 467,000 of you watched. Many of you agreed. Some of you were furious. But then, something happened that nobody predicted. Gen Z didn't back down. They leveled up. And now, the same employers who called them lazy, they're not just scared anymore. They're terrified. Let's rewind. 2 years ago, Gen Z was getting roasted everywhere. Viral HR surveys claimed up to 75% of managers found them difficult to work with, while stories of candidates ghosting interviews and failing to show up on day one flooded the internet. Corporate leaders were on LinkedIn complaining that the younger generation lacked grit, didn't understand professionalism, and expected a promotion after 2 weeks on the job. The narrative was simple. Gen Z doesn't want to work. But here's the thing. That narrative missed the entire point. Because while everyone was busy debating Gen Z's work ethic, Gen Z was busy doing something much more dangerous, taking over. In 2026, Gen Z is officially the fastest growing disruptor in the global workforce. By next year, they'll make up over a quarter of all global employees. But it's not just about numbers, it's about control. They are driving the cultural shift, and millennials, who are now moving into senior management, are starting to back them up. The old corporate guard thought they could just wait this generation out until they grew up and conformed. Instead, the market shifted, and the companies that refuse to adapt are now the ones in a silent crisis. We're talking about voluntary turnover rates hitting 40%, job listings going unfilled for months, and a quiet exodus of top-tier talent that is costing legacy enterprises billions of dollars a year. Imagine this. You're a hiring manager in 2026. You post a listing for an entry-level role, expecting the usual process. Instead, you get 400 applications in 48 hours. Half of them were completely generated or optimized by AI, making them look flawless. You filter them down to 20 candidates for a Zoom screening. 3 cancel the morning of the interview with 0 notice. 1 actually shows up, asks about your mental health policy and your company's carbon footprint in the first 5 minutes, decides the vibe is off, and leaves after 20. And by the time you've processed all of this, before you can even complain to HR, someone on TikTok has already posted a video called "I interviewed at your company and here's why I said no." They break down your outdated questions, your awkward corporate jargon, and expose the fact that your entry-level salary doesn't match the local cost of living. That video has 2 million views by midnight. Welcome to 2026. The power dynamic hasn't just shifted, it has been completely inverted. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. The same artificial intelligence that was supposed to replace Gen Z workers, Gen Z figured out how to use it faster, smarter, and more ruthlessly than anyone else. While legacy companies were still setting up committees to argue about whether to allow ChatGPT in the office, Gen Z employees were quietly automating their entire workload in their first month on the job. They took 40-hour-a-week tasks, broke them down using custom prompts and automated scripts, finished them in 12 hours, and then asked themselves a very logical question. What do I do with the rest of my time? Data from recent workplace studies found that Gen Z workers are nearly 3 times more likely to use AI tools daily than older generations. But they aren't using it to cheat. They're using it because they value their time more than corporate loyalty. To a traditional manager, efficiency looks terrifying when you've spent 30 years bragging about how many hours you sat at a desk doing manual data entry. Gen Z exposed the truth. A lot of corporate work is just performative busyness, and they refuse to perform. And they didn't stop there. If quiet quitting was the big trend a few years ago, welcome to what came next. The job bait and switch. This is the new battlefield. It happens when a company posts a listing with incredible perks, flexible hybrid hours, and an amazing progressive culture. Gen Z accepts the offer, shows up on day one, and discovers that the flexibility is a myth, the culture is toxic, and the perks are just free coffee in a depressing break room. In the past, an employee would stay for a year just to keep their resume clean. Gen Z, they leave by Friday. And they don't just leave quietly, they post about it, publicly, in detail, with screenshots of the initial job listing and the actual onboarding documents. Then there's the mainstream rise of bare minimum Mondays. It started as a social media meme, but it's now a legitimate workplace strategy. It's the practice of radical energy prioritization at the start of the week. No major meetings, no high-stress launches, just clearing the backlog and pacing yourself. Traditional bosses see this as a lack of ambition, but the data backs the results. Workers who practice intentional energy management on Mondays report 34% higher productivity by Thursday, with significantly lower burnout rates. Turns out humans aren't machines built for linear 8-hour bursts of high-intensity output. Who knew? Imagine this second scenario. It's 2030. You join a new company on a Monday morning. Your onboarding isn't a 3-day lecture. It's a 20-minute video that your personal AI assistant has already summarized into actionable bullet points. Your working hours are strictly results-based, not clock-based. If you finish your goals for the week by Wednesday, your time is your own. Your manager is 26 years old, and they send you a brief, concise voice note or Slack video instead of calling an emergency meeting that could have been an email. Mandatory uncompensated overtime is now illegal in 14 states due to aggressive labor law lobbying driven by younger voter blocs. Sound completely radical? Every single one of those things is already happening in progressive companies right now. The future isn't a theory, it's just unevenly distributed. Some major companies actually listened early on, and their performance metrics went completely through the roof. When Spotify gave their employees full location flexibility, letting them work from anywhere in the world, corporate traditionalists predicted a collapse in communication. Instead, employee satisfaction hit an all-time high, and voluntary turnover dropped by 30%. When Airbnb announced a permanent work-from-anywhere policy, their careers page received over 800,000 views in the days following the announcement, a 300% increase in applications. These aren't small, experimental tech startups. These are multi-billion and trillion-dollar global enterprises. And what they figured out is exactly what Gen Z has been shouting into the void all along. Respect isn't a benefit you earn after 5 years of loyalty. It's the baseline requirement for people to show up. But here's the real twist at the end of all this. After looking at the data, the trends, and the corporate panic, Gen Z isn't actually the problem. And honestly, they're not the magic solution either. They're the mirror. They're the first generation that grew up with total access to information, meaning they saw exactly how corporate loyalty panned out for their parents during economic crashes and layoffs. They are simply reflecting back every broken promise, every toxic management style, and every outdated system that forgot that work was originally supposed to serve people, not the other way around. They didn't invent the systemic dysfunction of the modern office. They just refused to pretend it was normal. And whether that reality terrifies you or inspires you, that might say a lot more about your management style than it does about them. So here's the question. 2 years from now, when Gen Z runs the project teams, sets the corporate policies, and writes the job listings, will you be glad they pushed back? Or will you still be in the comments section arguing about avocado toast? Let us know your thoughts below. And if you missed our original breakdown on why employers were first scared of Gen Z, the link to that video is right in the description. Subscribe for more deep dives into the changing world of work, and we'll see you next time.